Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to New Age F1. My name is Abe, and we are back with another round of New Age F1 Championship. It is here at the Spa. It's going to be here at Spa for the Belgium Grand Prix, and it's round 6 to be exact of this season so far. We were at Imola last time race, and now we're back, and that is here at Spa. Qualifying is about to start as we are now going out on track with drivers. Tonight we have live stewarding, so we might see some penalties we awarded mid-qualifying or mid-race even. Somebody impedes one or the other driver, it could come into play. Well, before we just get started and get out on track, let's have a look at Tyron still strong ahead of Midu in P2. 3 wins to Tyron, the championship leader, and your defending world champion. But keep in mind, one turned off the racing line, so assist really does affect performance. But Tyron is a very strong driver, as good as nobody is really in here with his to give him a much competition every race. But still, things with him being without a racing line, it depends how long he's been practicing without it, and if it is to come into play, it is certainly. So out and about, Mido in P2 with Michael 3 with 8 points, followed by just 2.3 behind is in 4th place, followed by Barando, who's in P6 with 30 points. Ryan's got 22 points in 7th place for Alpine. Well, Dees has got 18 after the podium finish of the previous race in Imola, while Wick is in with 18 points to their name. And who's driving for it's got 16 points. Top 10 standings. Well, this lag a little, but alright, it's going to be back to where it should be. Well, Archie is going to be qualifying ban, so he will not be coming out on track to put a time on board, and that means they've got a qualifying ban, which they obviously serving. Well, Fino is in P12 at 10 points. Sem goes for Romero on 13. 9 points to them, and then Polo's got 6. Then it's Bruno P17. Then all the way from Russo, Alvaro, Eric, Freddie, Edward. Everyone is without a point yet this season. Let's go. And start their flying laps just yet, so we just have enough time to look at the constructors. Well, Mercedes leaded strong ahead of everyone with 126 points. Red Bull in P2 to them, while McLaren's on 71 in 3rd place. RB on 42 with Alpine in 5th with 76 points. Just 6 points ahead of Sauber, who are out and about. Only 1 point of a Ferrari in place with 19 points. Haas has got 11, Aston Martin's got 9, and it is Alvila 6 points this season in the Constructors' Championship. So then let's not waste any time and get out with drivers on board. We've got BW in that McLaren. We might need a bit of an help understanding who they are in that championship, but then they're going to get out of the way to other. Romero, Edward is out on a flying lap right here at the end of the first sector, 31-0. We're going to find out how quick that's going to be. Spa, personally, one of the favorite circuits of mine, be it in Formula 1 or even on the F1 game. So, all the ways, I'd say, personally, it does give some good racing action, and overall, especially up there, is the part and of the where most of the magic. The DRS after that is pretty much, you know, the game. Pretty key quarter as well. You need to get it nicely. If you don't, you might end up actually getting a penalty right there, while one man who's going to be away to finish his lap 16.549 is going to be in that for Mr. Edward Wright in that Aston Martin. Be a very first driver to begin on have a time on board and set up a bench for everybody. Remember, they are in the bottom two positions in the Drivers' Championship. How quick is this one going to be from them over the finish line? 1:45.0. Will it be quick enough? Do we see a lap time on board from Freddie Edward? It's going to be absolutely quick. How about they will be putting this one? What about Romero, who to get a time on board? Be posting anywhere similar or near Edward, or will he go fastest? No, he won't. 45.5 is going to be P2 for Edward. Sorry, for Romero right there. And so far, Edward's time just be enough. For how long will that be the case, though? Not sure about that. As we have a couple of drivers coming from right behind, as Ryan's going to make their way through the bus stop chicane now, onto the main straight and over to the finish line. Certainly they will be the fastest, and they are the fastest. 1:44.1 that is, while Fino's going to beat that in no time. 1:43.3 has to be a very quick time. What about Evil then? They're going to go over the line as well and complete it to get it in P2. 1:43.423, as I said, as we get a couple of times on board only, then we'll know how quick that time is from Edward. And so far as it stands, it might not be very quick, while DJ is racing in tonight, as he's been signed by Red Bull, if I'm not mistaken. He's at least in here for tonight. Well, Archie is serving a qualifying ban, hence why he is not in the session and has retired. What about D's over to the line at 1:44.2 from him there? Well, BW is going to be starting their lap now, I believe, because their time is quite slow, unless they've made a... And yep, they're starting right now by the looks of it. They pretty much then did a lap to get a get themselves prepare themselves, do a little bit of prep lap and the best tire conditions, temperatures to go for it. What about Oliver over to the line? 40 going to be up to P4 so far. That is a pretty decent time considering only top two are in the 140s, but I think Ryan special and almost D's is also lower 144, so definitely I think going to the end of the session 144 high 143s or even low 143s and so it could be an interesting feat. And what about the man who we were about to watch to start their flying lap? What about them now? Are they going to be able to do, or are they going to be, I mean, they don't need to do any better, rather just do what they do every single week, and they'll be at the top of the timing charts, Tyron. But for how long? We are about to get it, as they've got the line off, so if they do make it 8, we might have a thing to focus on. But how quick this first sector will be from Tyron, a championship leader, over to 30.6. It's a decent first sector, but how is it good enough though? We are about to find out, as Fino, whose fastest has done 30.7. So that's how you know Tyron has still got it. Doesn't matter if you've got the racing line off or it's on. He's going to put a time. This is going to be still very quick. Well, Righteous went up to P6. DJ in P9. Have to have his lap invalidated. Anyways, it would have been maximum P8. Rather, even if that they were to keep it. What about D's? Are they going to go over the line? Yes, they will be, but they will not be improving, certainly on a prep lap, and now they might be starting a flying lap right here with the battery charge, everything in control. Well, the man who we are looking to see, do they have it in control here? That's going to be Tyron, the championship leader, out now. Man has won 3 out of the 4 races this season so far. He's got everything in control to get on here. Oh, that's going to be lockup, and that's going to be a huge lockup, and that lap will be done into the bus stop chicane. Just mismanaged the braking zone a little bit, but still that lap's going to be good enough for P3. And you know how good that lap would have been had he not made that mistake, locked up the bus stop chicane and narrowly lost it. But despite that, still 143.803. Remember, only 3 drivers we've got in the 143s. And that's how you know if he's going to get the opportunity or just get that mistake sorted. He's going to be in a pretty good treat right there. Certain, I think that at least the mistake we were talking about, he did make one, but what about the man on your screen right now? That's going to be BW. They're going to come into the pits. 144.8 was the fastest so far they could put. What about Raichu? They're on a flying lap. You know, DJ promoted to Red Bull from Alpine is now going to be coming into the pit lane right here. What about Special? They're going to be on an out lap. The Just will be starting that killer in the Williams here. 14 drivers we've got, but obviously the time 2 drivers just remaining in the session who haven't got a time on board. What about Evil? They're on a flat out lap as well. 8 minutes now have passed, so nearly just half the qualifying session, a little bit more than half has passed in the session. But what about Tyron? Do they want to go again? Are they? No, they're not going again. They certainly, they're out then, so they pretty much pitted and went in and then came. I want to take this. Stop sheet. Tires, and probably the way they slowed down, maybe they're calculating make it perfect. They want to make it better the way they went into the fight chicane, so that could possibly help them out, and eventually I think that'll be the only reason they've slowed down and came into the pits there. Otherwise there isn't much. Well, Romero did find over 5/10 in that first sector. It would have been nearly better than Tyron in the first sector, but that's not going to be enough. So far as they've invalidated their lap, they'll have to get out of the way of Killer in that Williams. Are they going to be able to get past there? Yes, they will be, but was that on time there? Because that is going to be a little bit of an indication of it from Ikila there, 16.7. So that's a decent one. Maybe a bit of an it wasn't an impeding. I think he surely didn't impede him, but probably could be. Remember, in race stewarding here tonight, though, it's to catch up a little incident or anything to go by. We will have the information about it as soon as possible. So do keep an eye for that in the races, and eventually you possibly indication of what is going on and what not. Killer we were talking about, they're going to be into the ground and one, and I'm sure that they'll still be there to let Romero get past. Now Romero nearly would have clipped, but eventually they would have been ghosted. That probably would be the best of reasons to let them get past. While one Red Bull is on an out lap, the other Oz is on a flying lap and about to go over the line on those brand new set of soft compound tires. Raichu's going to move up to P3, 143.702, and that is going to be a pretty decent time into 143s. Top 4 riders in the 143s, and the only top 4 drivers so far, but they've got a brilliant lap in. What about Ryan? They're just going to be starting their lap while Dees and the Ferrari will be doing the same. Will it be the same case for Special? No, they're going to be coming to the end of their lap. The previous one was 144.1. Did they go any better than that? Yes, they do. And that'll be 43.916. That for a top 5 here, but decent improvement and a decent lap time right there, though they're not far away from Tyron, who's in P4. Remember, they have made one mistake already, so confidence could be key here. You know, it's essential to get your lap in, and if they're struggling with confidence, if they're not going to be struggling with a bit of it, that could mean they might find it difficult to start their lap or complete the lap nice and easy. Remember, they pitted on their previous lap. They've had to come out once more, and pretty much being spot. This is going to be their second last lap and if whoever's in the pit lane should be coming out very soon. Otherwise, if they stay out a little bit longer, as they have less time than 2 minutes remaining, and they try and come out on the track for an outlap to get another pin, that'll be difficult for them to do. While we talk about difficulty, is how difficult is Edward finding it right here in qualifying? By the looks of it, yes, he's got a lap on it and definitely start improving. That indicator is going to come into the pits, but what about DJ, or let it be Raichu, who's going to also come into the pits as well? While Ryan, Tyron's teammate, is certainly going to be looking for some improvements into the final corner now. No, that's going to be not anything for them as well, as they head into the pits, while Tyron is actually far away. I thought it was Tyron on the mini-map. It won't. What about Dees? He certainly will be looking for some improvement, and yes, he does find that improvement of over half a second, and they'll move up and over to 143.730. Oh, they've got the information on their hand, while Ian is on that lap right there. Ripple will get the opportunity to get past and over to the line at 145.345, so unable to improve, unable to find an improvement that's going to be good enough for them just right here. So they're still going to be trying, they're still going for it. On a outlet about Tyron, they made a mistake, gentlemen, but they might go top of the timing charts. Yes, they do, and they'll move up to 142.668. And I said at the start of the session, the amount of speed he's got, it doesn't matter whether he uses the line or not. Even if he's a couple without the line, still he's got a huge margin as compared to everyone around him. He'd be good and okay to go without it, and it certainly is, as he takes pole, as he moves to pole position 2.668. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a brilliant lap, to say the least, and fastest lap. We talk about the gap, it's nearly 6.5 tenths, 6.6 tenths quicker than the driver in P2. So that is certainly a lap to be looking at. The lap we'll be finding to get on. Well, for P1 to P5, the gap is 1 whole. But down and about, it's pretty much close between, let's say, Dees and Raichu. 47, 43 sevens, then Evil and Fino are not far away from each other, 43-3, 43-4. So eventually that's all going to be looking at least at the moment. And now we are to the final part of qualifying, to the final laps of qualifying from here from the drivers. Right there. Ooh, that's going to be Tyron. He's going to let everybody get past. He might want to get going now, and he indeed will get going. While, ooh, that's a lap from Evil right there, as he's put a lap in at 143.0. So, if this was to be their final lap, that's going to be it from them. But still, that is a pretty good lap, and it's going to be a certain challenge for everyone else to catch him out there, because Tyron could be on in his own league. Everybody else around him has certainly got a challenge, has certainly got a thing, while Dees is moving left and right. I wonder if he's letting others past, or he's made a mistake, and he might be letting others pass since he's got a battery full of his energy, so he's certainly going to be using that when he starts his lap, while Ian has got a time of 144.932. He's certainly. What about the Mercedes of Ryan right there? They're going to be starting a flying lap, while Dees is stopped in the part on that part of the track, and I think now his tires are going to be absolutely cold, and he won't be able to find as much grip, but eventually he's going again, so maybe too high, which possibly would be the only reason I think that much time to start. Sure, he was trying to let others get past, but definitely that would have been pretty tricky. But what about Fino here? Will he find right on their final lap? Yes, they will, and they'll move up into the 142s. That'll be a 42.862. Sure, a lap at least 2 tenths slower than Fino, but Tyron, but that is indeed a brilliant lap, ladies and gentlemen, without a doubt. What about the McLaren, they're going to come into the pit, and their qualifying would have been over on the previous lap. Now Raichu, who has been slightly just a few tenths away from these guys in the top three. How would he be able to do this on the final one of 143.3? He will find over 3 tenths to definitely make it hard for Dees, who's currently in P5, and he's 2 tenths in his first lap. I think that was certainly going to be expected, the way the amount of time they took to start the lap. What about Killa in the Alpine and the RB of Ian? They're both going to go onto the lap, onto the finish line without an improvement, while the one McLaren is in the top 3. The other is going to put it up in as well. Pretty much good P right there. A good lap at least from BW there, 143.562. A very good lap time. Meanwhile, Ryan in the Mercedes is over in down in P8, 44.1. Right there, and that, ladies and gentlemen, will be the end of the qualifying session, while Dees is going to go over the line and take the checkered flag, but certainly they're not finding an improvement right at all. And that will be the end of the session here at Spa. Before we get ready, before we get started for 22 laps of racing around Spa-Francorchamps, and ladies and gentlemen, right here are your qualifying results. Tyrone on pole, Fino in P2 with Evil in P3, Retro and BW in the top 5 with D's Special, Ryan, Edward, Romero in the top 10. The bottom 5 are Edward with Ian, DJ, Killer, and Archie, who did not put a time on board, and I believe Fabio has, or Freddy, sorry if I'm wrong. So they will be driving this race right here, as I wonder if break, but maybe Freddy's can take control. So we've got an extra driver, and now we've got not 14 but 15 drivers on board with us. The drivers get ready, teams get ready to make sure everything is ready. And there we go. We're going to be ready and out on the track. We started qualifying with 14. We're going to be starting the race with 15 drivers on board. It's a matter of fact that how many are going to be finishing? I think at least 10. I'd have to say. I think it's par. So I'd expect drivers. I mean, judging from qualifying, there weren't many mistakes. So I think if there is one or two DNF, or if there's any DNF drivers fighting each other, there certainly hopefully won't be drivers losing it, like let's say at Imola. Imola certainly is a classic F1 circuit, and has quite a lot elevation changes. So does Spa, but eventually I think you'd say a lot of Imola is punishable. Imola punishes you a lot as compared to Spa, and it's 22 laps as well, which certainly is nearly a 2-minute a lap here in the race. 22 laps, so it certainly will be one stop, but those dark clouds in the sky could be in here to ruin the party for most of them. So for the tire starters, it is Fino on the soft tire along with Freddy, followed by DJ, who's on a set of hards, while everybody else in this race decided to start on a set of on a set of medium compound tire. And I think the best would certainly be medium hard, but I think you definitely have to understand that why they've got the soft tire, at least for Fino. He's certainly going to be looking to challenge Tyrone in turn one already, with Tyrone having his racing line off. It would definitely be a bit of a challenge for them to tackle or to defend from Fino, and also an early car would also be a case of that. I think if there's a safety car within 3 to 4 laps, it would be an easy pit stop and an easy choice to change on the tires for Fino. Otherwise, I think he'd still be able to do a decent amount of laps on the soft tire to make him do one stop. And I think looking at conditions, even if it does rain, it's still cooler conditions, so tire temperatures would be fine. Tire temperatures would not. Drivers shouldn't have any issues with the cold, with hotter tires or tire burn, tire degradation, because of temperatures. At least how it looks, or how we could judge right here. While we are meanwhile, Fino is the very first driver to be right there and ready to go racing here at Spa. It is going to be a lot of drivers. Everybody's now ready here at Spa for the Belgium Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Freddie went to have a look in the pit lane, maybe to see how it's going with his pit crew, but he's back out on track now as it's time for racing. It is time to have some entertainment and fun out on the track. Look at that. Fino facing to the right to go take the lead, while Tyron moving to the outside to defend racing from Fino. It is going to be now time to go racing here at the Belgium Grand Prix. It's going to be 5 red lights out and go racing here at Spa. It's a very good start for Fino off the line, and on the heading to Ed one around the outside, even better start than Tyrone has into Ed when he's going to go absolutely wide, nearly going to drive back the track and hit, and that could certainly mean a bit of a problem for the McLaren driver, who tried to rejoin back in very quickly, and an unsafe rejoin, a bit of damage for one of the cars behind. Well, turn 1, he's in the into the right, while right too nearly, he's going to go for it on the line. Tyrant's going to go a little bit wide. He makes a huge mistake. How does he go in, though? He nearly makes contact with the McLaren while trying to rejoin. Meanwhile, his teammate now could well give him a little bit of a problem as well. It is all going to be time right here, while the soft tire of Fino's performing brilliantly. Freddy's in P15. He's going to try and get past the DJ in the Red Bull, but certainly so far it's only the first lap, and look at that. Tyron's down in P4, and he might be in a bit of trouble from his teammate soon by the look of it. It could certainly do a lot of things right here. Not sure we're going to be seeing it soon. So far in a second now. Look at that. So in P3, followed by Tyron in P4. Maybe Tyron is actually pulling away now, but those mistakes could be frequent from Tyron now, because otherwise, you know, usually with his he's almost perfect, like driving like a robot, you know, right around here. So possibly without that line, which could eventually a reason that, you know, he's made the mistake, and eventually that is the reason indeed. But that means Fino is going to be leading the race, at least for the moment. It is going to be until those soft tires wear out. It is certainly going to be a stunt when those soft tires run out of grip, when those soft tires feel they're not really as good as they were at the start of the race, and that grip starts to fall off. But medium and hard soft tire around here might not be open. The Red Bull will be on. Is open on the Red Bull and the McLaren as well. Certainly the Red Bull driver is going to be close, but not close enough to the move. But definitely, I think the way drivers are actually closer to each other while is making moves. As he lost, DJ is going to have a bit of contact with Freddy. Freddy's going to get past there. You know, Archie and he's going to try and get past the Williams of Killer on. Going to make contact, and then none of them wishing to back out of it. And there was going to be a bit of contact. Certainly the Williams driver backed out of it, but with a end plate damaged on their Williams. And now, you know, as Tyron is certainly closer and in the fight too, as he definitely is impatient to try and get past BW, but it's nearly from P5 to P1 to P6, everybody within 1 second of each other, and from there drivers are also close to one another as well, so definitely a DRS train could be forming up soon, which is not a good thing at all. But look at that now. Evil is certainly going to be looking to get past the Mercedes of Ryan here. When he would be able to do that, that is a thing Time's going to answer, and I'm sure Time is going to do that very soon. And Archie contact with Romero noted by stewards. Archie contact with Killer noted as well by the steward, ladies and gentlemen. That could certainly mean something coming up Archie's way. Archie first made contact with Romero, then contact with Killer, and it's going to be a bit of a mistake from BW. He goes a little bit wide, finds the gravel himself, while we focus from the on the notification from the stewards, as Mike is now going to get past Evil as well, while Fred Killer is in P20. He's made a slight bit of mistake, but as we were funny enough, we were actually on board with Archie making that move on Killer, and he certainly, that verdict has noted. But what are the stewards going to have that on for us for an information of what's going to be happening? Well, Edward and Romero nearly going to make contact. Oh, there's going to be a bit of a problem by the looks of it. Dees might have found a bit of gravel there because he's got brass on his tyres, and that means he's not headed easy at all. While Raichu has been given the penalty corner cutting. All right, Raichu's won the penalty. Raichu has got a penalty for 10 seconds of gaining and overtaking off the track and gaining an advantage. Right, he currently leads ahead of Fino in P3 with Tyron in P2 there. And we've got new penalties as well, ladies and gentlemen, so that are going to be about to get announced right here. And as the incident was noted, and that is in Archie has got a 5-second time penalty for Archie for forcing Killer off track with contact and an advantage. It was which we literally saw on board. So that is a penalty with the live stewarding. That is what we can do, and that's going to be Evil, who's going to be able to get past Fino. Does he get past Fino, though? As we were talking about the tire for Fino to run out of grip, and by the looks of it, they're out of grip within 3 laps here. Oh, that's going to be a bit of tagged, and that's going to be one of the Mercedes tagged right there, I believe so. It might have been Ryan then, because it looked like certainly one of the Mercedes going sideways there. Well, Raichu now leads the Grand Prix, remember, so you have to note that 5-second penalty, which is certainly going to affecting his pay. And, you know, with these penalties it is not in games, so they can't even be paid while served, while there's going to be BW get overtaken by D's. Meanwhile, Special is in P8. Romero's making moves. Meanwhile, Archie's down in P11 with a 5-second penalty. Fine, and maybe these guys could be fighting each other off. A lot of action and close. These guys right there. With Raichu in P1. Remember, Raichu's got a 10-second time penalty for forcing another driver off the track and gaining an advantage right there. Fino contact with D's has been noted as well, so that could be interesting. So no further investigation on Archie contact with Romero, as Archie's got a penalty for contact with Killer there, while Anti has been noted. So this could be interesting to see. I think we could eventually see something coming up. Either, not sure what's going to be happening, not sure what it will be, but we might or might not see something coming up soon within 4 laps, which is going to turn 4-5 now into the over the line now. Well, Tyron is almost ready. He's about to get past, nearly about to get past Raichu there. Well, Fino's going to be into the pits because of those soft tires. Well, so is D's, and D's and Fino make contact, so I wonder if both of them have decided to now pit. Maybe either of them have got some front wing damage or what, while Tyron is going to be 3/10 behind Raichu now, and the move coming up could be coming up soon as they go up the erosion ready on. Raichu's nearly going to get unstable his car. He's almost going to lose his car, their control. He's going to try and get the control back, even without the battery to be using Raichu to defend. Eventually he's going to lose the position, and Tyron leads the Grand Prix back again. He goes a little bit wide, comes back on the second, but is he going to allow Raichu to go over and attack once more? Now this is all happening. Tyrone, remember, made a mistake at that same corner in lap 1 on lap 1 as well. So eventually he's not finding it easy at all right here. And that means Raichu in P2 could eventually still keep that pressure on Tyrone, because if such small like these happen, remember, there are many drivers who are very fast, but these are the little mistakes that eventually you know, or give them problems on a long run. Meanwhile, there's going to be a 5-second penalty for Fino for a late dive bomb on Dees, causing wing damage on Dees' car. And that is 10 seconds indeed. That is not 5 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. And that is a penalty coming up for Fino, man on your screen, for a late dive bomb on Dees, causing front wing damage on Dees' car. And that has been changed from 5 seconds. It was 5 seconds for a split second, but that is 10 seconds now. So remember that. 5 seconds to Archie and 10 seconds to Fino on a pit stop right here. So that could be interesting, to say the least. While Evil is in P4 right behind Ryan, who's in P3, and Raichu's got a 10-second time penalty. So chance of a win or anyway is going to be pretty, not a lot in doubt, to say the least. Well, DRS will be available. DRS will be open, not on the Red Bull, but on the Mercedes and the McLaren. Well, we were talking about the Red Bull driver getting overtaken. Might be an opportunity for the McLaren to get past, but eventually McLaren driver would not have the opportunity to get past right there at all, at least for now. And now you know why Fino and Dees pitted eventually. Fino might have pitted because of his tires running out of grip, but Dees surely pitted because of his front wing being damaged. Well, while Bay is now in P6 right here so far. So eventually now, lap 6 out of 22. Still a lot remains in this one though, remember. More than half of the race is still certainly remaining right here, as Killer's now got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. And I think that'll be a track limits penalty, I believe. And now Dees has got the same penalty as well, but Dees has got an in-game penalty, while Fino's got a penalty from our stewards in the office. Well, there's going to be a Ryan chance. There's going to be a chance for Ryan to get past the Red Bull. Will he go for it? No, he certainly doesn't. And he should not. Well, had there been any damage to Raichu, it could have been a chance, but he doesn't need to worry about that, as there's going to be... He might have got a better exit. Final corner, heading towards turn 1. He's going to send it on the sideline. Has he got it enough, though? He's a little bit wide, and that might be able to damage to Raichu's car, as that's going to be now interesting. It's a three-way fight right here. It's going to come on the inside line, heading towards Rouge and Red. It's going to be side by side. It might be Kit, as just about even big thing between the two right there. Now, you know, them are going at it once more. Raichu's going to get past Ryan in no time. Ryan got past Raichu, but Raichu gets past Ryan right there. Well, Fino's got a 30-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That's going to be 13 seconds to Fino's time, while Evil's going to go on the inside lane of that Mercedes, and he sends the move on those tires. Ryan's now making mistakes. He runs a little bit wide and gets on. So certainly the pressure is on. The pressure from the McLaren, from the Red Bull, is all on top of Renault's Mercedes there. For us to see at the moment. And eventually, lap 7 out of 22 right here. Still these drivers on medium tires right here. So eventually it's going to be interesting to see what's going to be the case. Obviously 10 seconds to Raichu, but he's still going to fight it. He's still going to have fun around on the track, and even if he's not able to achieve a position at the end of this race, he's still going to try to have it, you know, on track, which is certainly a better be staying out in penalty. Romero's got 3 seconds, so a lot of drivers are getting track limit penalties, which is interesting to see. Well, BW is into the pits now, along with Ian on those medium compound tires. The medium tires really lasting for about 7 laps on each tyre by these drivers. Edwards now got a penalty as well, so a lot of drivers getting these track limits penalties. As I said, I feel like going up through Rouge and Radion, I think that's the place that drivers mostly do get these penalties, because if we're able to go on board, well, we're going to go on board with Ryan, who's going to get past it by him. He's going to take that again, and batteries are similar to all 3 drivers. For Raichu trying to defend Ryan for an overtake, and it wasn't even enough for Evil. Obviously, straight line speed depends on setups and driver preference as well. Certainly, so it's out about what they're going to be doing and what would be their best setup for a race, and especially straight. This is not the main straight up the road and ready. It's second DRS straight. It's not as long. It is, and it certainly is one of the big, one of the places of the track where we see lots of overtakes. There are other overtaking places, probably into turn 1 or even into the bus stop chicane, but a lot of them are quite difficult to get, and it's just not a part of the track where you see frequent overtakes. While the second DRS zone is the place where we see frequent right, pulling away from the Mercedes of Ryan there, and the opportunity to get past Ryan could be here for Evil, but maybe right now is not going to be enough, or because Raichu now is going to be just about 5 tenths ahead of Ryan, while Ryan certainly will have the pressure of Evil. Apologies if there's a bit of battle going on in the back, but we've certainly got the top drivers to focus on right here. And remember the penalties the drivers have got. Meanwhile, we're now certainly in a lap 9, while Eva's going to have that DRS, but so will Ryan. So definitely the DRS train we were talking about is it's not formed up in only 3 cars with only DRS to 1, but eventually it's going to be the case. So no for the contact, but Raichu in a turn 1, which is certainly might as well battle, and you know, they're gonna let these guys fight, be it a track, not a track, but a racing incident, to say the least. Eventually, right here, which would certainly mean they're gonna let them fight. Remember penalties. Fino's got a 10-second time penalty for making contact with D's. Then there's another driver who got a penalty, and that was Archie, who got a 5-second time penalty, I believe, to making contact with Killer. These are there. There's in-game penalties, and then there are those awarded by the stewards. Meanwhile, these guys have stayed out for quite a while, and they're still going to stay out as Ryan and Evil are going to come into the pits. And now that's going to be interesting, as Tyron is over 6.1 seconds ahead, as Ryan's got a 10-second time penalty speeding into the pit lane, nearly equals it to Raichu. Raichu certainly, when he pits, will have the opportunity to pay that, to serve that penalty, and I think he's going to be pushing now as much as he can on this lap to certainly build a gap enough to the cars behind right there. Well, Fino obviously starting on the soft tyre, pitted quite a few laps ago, which unless he goes to the end of the race on these tyres, I think it'll be very unlikely he's able to do that. While the Romero is going to be facing towards the wall. What place is he even on? And that's the main straight. I wonder if he's made contact with one of the drivers, and Archie is stopped on the middle of the track, and he might have slowed down to let Romero get past him there. Or no, that's actually not going to be the case. We've got a virtual safety car in our hands, as we had no information about it, as Romero has now retired out of this, and that's going to be a full course caution safety car. It was a virtual safety car which turns into full safety car right there, and look at that, and what a time it certainly would have been, and it has been for the likes of Tyron, Raichu, and Finos. He will be pitting again, and it's all to play for, but Tyrone Raichu's got a 10-second time penalty as well, so certainly, let's say, Evil, Ryan, those who pitted are down in P5. They're definitely going to get the track position, though. But Raichu and Tyrone, they might not, which would be interesting to see. But all the drivers, they might get it to Fino and DJ, but getting it to Raichu and maybe to Raichu as well, because he's got a 10-second time penalty. But Tyrone's going to be, I think, in the best and perfect position certainly to pit after getting 10 laps certainly on these medium tires and going on instead of hot. Everybody's going to be in mediums off, hard tires on in this one right here. Remember the penalties in this race so far. Archie's got a 5-second time penalty for forcing Killer off the track and making contact and gaining a position. And Fino has got a 10-second time penalty for a late dive bomb on Dees, causing a front wing on Dees' car. But certainly is going to be a case, and an interesting choice right here. And I wonder, I hope that's not by mistake, but an interesting choice by Raichu to go over for a set of soft tires into this race. Sure, I think they're thinking that would be that probably we're gonna go racing by lap 14 or even 15, maybe lap 13. I think lap 14 we're gonna go racing by. So certainly lap 14 restart at the end of lap 13, I'd assume. But interesting choice to go to no set of softs, because it would be pretty tricky. Even if you minus out the laps of the safety car, it'd still have to do 7 to 8 laps, which some drivers could even manage, hard manage tire on the soft tire. Sorry, medium tire, I should say. But it's an interesting choice. I mean, certainly a medium tire obviously wasn't a choice for them here, but with everybody on the hard tires around them, definitely one thing would benefit them here though, that it's cooler conditions. Hard tires already harder to warm up, and it would be pretty, I won't say bad, but certainly, you know, and difficult thing to do to warm up their tires, which would eventually mean that soft tire runner who's got temperature on their tires, the soft tires, even if you have like nearly 70 degrees on your tires, they perform decent enough eventually. So that's going to be okay. And now Oliver, contact at what Brando has been noted. Eventually Oliver, remember, is not even in this race right here. He's retired as well. So Ollie collision with Brando has been noted, which would certainly be interesting to see, because with Ollie not even in this race anymore, could that mean a grid penalty for the next race, or could that mean a couple of seconds of penalties for them into the next race? Going to be to watch out for. But Brent 12 as well in that McLaren right there, so it's out and about what they're going to be getting. So Ollie collision with Brendo, as we noted by the stewards, ladies and gentlemen, as everybody is now ready. And I think at the end of this lap, everyone should and will be able to catch up with the safety car if it comes in. This will be a lap 13 comes out at least at the end of next lap. That would certainly make the lap 14 restart. And out and about 8 to 9 laps still remain to the Grand Prix. That would mean so with Tyrone on the hard tires, with Raichu on softs, with Fino on hard tires, with 30 seconds in penalty. Other by the steward. They made 2 stops, but their strategy is going to now so far. It'll all depend how they manage that 10-second penalty. While Evil is in P4, DJ in a very good position, because let's say P5 right there, while Ian is in P6. Meanwhile, Edward has got a 3-second P9, followed by Killer, who's got 6. penalty. Well, then it's Archie who's got 5 seconds for pushing another car and gaining an advantage on the track. And Brendo's left this. Interesting. Drivers, but certainly we haven't got. Alright, the headset's working. I decided to disconnect. It's going to be back in now. And there we go, ladies. Oh, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. The safety car is going to be, in fact, coming in this lap. Would have thought it's going to come in at the end of next lap, but it certainly has had other plans as we're now ready to go with 12 laps into this race. Time's on. So that is in as there. Tyrone in one, leads ahead of Raichu, Fino in P3, followed by Evil, Michael, and DJ in the top 5. Tyrone has got experience, has got races, many seasons of experience of how to get a restart behind a safety car restart right. And well done by them, despite Raichu being on the soft tire. He hasn't been able to be as closer to Tyrone as he would have liked. Tyrone slightly looks up into turn 1. There now might be an opportunity for Raichu heading towards the second straight there after erosion ready on it. That's going to be Tyrone. He's managed to just about catch it back again, but that, and look at this, the back. Kill is going to get past Reddy and Edward there. Both of them are going to be in P12 and 11, while Killa's in P10 so far. We've lost 2 cars, while DJ D's is in P8. Meanwhile, there's a yellow flag. I wonder if that's okay. That's not going to yellow flag. Actually, it's a bug, which is actually followed from F124. While if the safety car comes in, it still shows on the overlay that if there's a yellow flag. So it shows caution sector 3. Back on F124, it's just used to say safety car. If the safety car comes in, it still would say safety car to the end of the race, even if there was no safety car on the track. While Evil on towards now the left end, there's going to be opportunity for Fino to certainly defend, because he's over a second behind Raichu now, who's on the sort of soft compound tires. Tyrone's speed is pretty strong still, over a second gain on Raichu. I think Raichu's best opportunity here would be force Tyrone make mistakes, or at least if Tyrone does make a mistake, he can simply catch up to him. Meanwhile, Evil is right behind in pretense behind Tifi. DRS will get enabled at the end of this lap, so the first sector straight, the sector end straight will have that DRS. Straight, if I'm not mistaken. Well, Archie will get past his teammate. Remember, has got a bit of 3-second penalty, but Archie's got 5 seconds, so now it's going to be interesting between the two teammates. D's going to be around the outside. He runs a little bit wide, and it's going to be Archie who's going to take that position while D's comes back on the track. He's going to fight his teammate up there. They both will be side by side once more, heading towards turn 1. Nobody's running back out. They're both going to be out there. Archie has been involved in a couple of incidents out there. D's gives him as much space as he could. They're still going to be will to will, while Archie seems to have got a hold on to his teammate. Both of them have got the soft tire, hard tire as well, who's going to back out into erosion. Ready on as it nearly going to clip its front wing off. Will D's nearly clipped his teammate's front wing off, and now there's no ERS left, only 5% on Archie's car, and that certainly explains why D's has managed to get a better on, and Tyrone's now got a 3-second time penalty right there. Well, Ian has gotten past the Mercedes of Ryan as well, so well to the RB driver, or has he though, because Ryan might try and come back on the RB now, because he certainly got past him, but the medium tire driver is looking in a pretty good condition as compared to Ryan there. Certainly 3 laps tire deficit, and also the medium versus the hard tire, at least within 3 laps on the 6 laps on the tire, the medium will be performing in a decent grip and traction so far. Well, the 2 Ferrari drivers in P8 and 9 at the moment, while Tyrone has managed to gain over 2.2 seconds. Now Raichu's best chance is to stay within 3 seconds of Tyrone, while Fino still manages to stay ahead of Evil so far. I'd say probably with penalties to Fino. Maybe, just maybe, you know, he will not about that. So certainly, Fino's going to finish far down the order because that 10-second time penalty. Archie's now got a in-game 3-second time penalty that'll make his penalty count to 8 seconds to the end of this race with that 5-second added. Still within 3 seconds of tie run, but for how long will that be the case? We're about to find out. While at the back of the grid there's a bit of fighting going on as Freddy's going to be having a trip to the gravel. I wonder if he's lost it on his own, or was there any contact with Archie once more, as Archie's in P11. He's out then. He was fighting with D's on the previous lap, so he certainly lost out time as well with Ryan in P6 at the moment, followed by Evil in P4 at the moment. He's within half a second of Fino, but then so is Fino with half a second of Raichu as well. So all these drivers, I think, now they just have to wait Raichu's soft tires to wear out. They just have to wait Raichu's soft tires to run out of grid, because he's done over 4 laps. At the end of this lap, it'll be 5 laps on these tires. And I think, sure, you could say a lap or two behind the safety car, maybe. His tires are in decent condition, but still think he's still gonna have to find. He's gonna find it difficult, if not now in the remaining 4 laps or remaining 3 laps. I don't think those are more than enough to have it overtake when those tires are not performing. While Ryan's got past DJ, Ryan was part of this battle earlier before the pit stops, but certainly it'll later on, and definitely that's not good. Certainly a headset. It's gonna. Okay, I'll just thing as it's gonna be. Vito's gonna roll in a little bit wide for Evil to get a move on him, which he certainly isn't able to do just now. As I was about to say, I'm gonna do a headset reset to maybe it fixes it, but by the looks of it, there might be opportunities and overtakes coming up soon, so we're not going to do that just right now, but it could in time. So I'm going to do a headset reset, which I think might be an issue because there might be a bit of sort of right, there we go. It still keeps on going. A lot of drivers on the straight. They might be for Ian to get past DJ there, and Ian does get past DJ. The top ball there, we're going to see Fino and Raichu get to overtake on one another. As Raichu gets to do an overtake, or does he? Because Raichu's going to send it on the inside line. He pushes both of them absolutely wide, and there's going to be a big penalty coming up. The driver's way there, because you know that was a big problem. And Raichu, oh, that's going to be Raichu, who's been put in the wall straight away. by Ryan, because Ryan has been absolutely put in the wall. And that might have been Ryan who put Raichu in the wall, and that's going to be a late safety car here. Absolutely on, but that is some deliberate overtakes or some deliberate contacts, at least by the looks of it, as if you've got a very late safety car. And certainly was... we just saw that Raichu push Fino a little bit wide. Fino got the overtake, and then as soon as Raichu was able to go his way into the left-hander, he was welcomed with a huge bump, and Archie's got a black flag. And that is interesting. Archie's got a black flag. That means that's a disqualification, isn't it? Well, that was not sure what exactly happened there, but I think we watch out to what our steward has to say. And as it is a blue flag for Archie. Okay, Fabio says his race is done. All right, then, so that's going to be retirement coming up soon, I assume, for Archie. He's got a black flag. That would certainly mean he has to eventually retire, but let's see when that's going to be happening. About at the moment, we're 18 laps in out of 22, so Tyron leads ahead of Ryan in P2. I wonder if the incident between Ryan and Raichu was caught up or not. Raichu's retired as well, so that is interesting. I think he did retire there when he made contact with the wall, certainly after that contact. So Raichu, killer, all out of the Grand Prix. I actually said only 10 drivers could be finishing up, and Raichu's in for a pit stop in here, but I'd assume they're going to be out of the race, and they will certainly be retiring when comes the end of this pit stop. They certainly can they can certainly keep going, but I wonder if they simply their result will not count if they do still finish. That's what I'd assume, because they're still not retiring and they're still continuing as Raichu. Ooh, that is, and certainly Raichu has been told to retire for that black flag, and we were talking about Raichu and Fino's contact. And so that is interesting. We were talking about Ryan bumped into him, but then it was Raichu who bumped into Ryan. So Raichu receives a race ban for the next race for deliberately turning into Ryan, causing damage and resulting in his own DNF. I'm not sure why Raichu wanted to do that, but he certainly receives a race ban for that. So remember, Raichu will not be moving forward at all, as Archie is now out, as well as 10 drivers now will remain for the remaining 3 laps of the Grand Prix, which I'd assume the safety car is going to go at the end of this lap. So now, so far, Tyron leads ahead of Ryan in P2. Remember, Tyron's got 3 seconds in penalty, so his win could be in trouble if everybody around Ryan, actually, along with Ian, are able to keep it in 3 seconds of Tyron there. Forza O's in P4 has got let's actually get the not the tires, but simply the penalties. Yeah, so Dee's got 3 seconds, so has Edward Evil in P6 on his own, while Fino has got 13 seconds in penalties because of a contact with Dee's early on in this race, and Freddie's got a drive-through penalty in P9. He's running at the moment, while DJ is in P8 with Brendo. I'd assuming that McLaren is currently in P10. So eventually, we're all on right here so far. So stops in this race, only a couple of drivers with the one stop, with Edward, Ian and Tyrone. Everybody else has made either 1, 2 or more stops. Even 4 stops for Brando. He's certainly been involved in a lot of incident. I think now everybody has caught up to the safety car, and you'd assume that that safety car is going to hopefully now go at the end of into the pits at the end of this lap, and we get no for the safety car before the end of this race, and we finish under green flags, which obviously happens on the F1 game, but still, you know, gonna be the case. So penalties, remember, Fino's got 10-second penalty for a late dive bomb on D. Safety car is in the pits now. Archie has been black flagged after being involved in multiple incidents. Raichu has received a race ban, while Tyrone, who had to do a safety car restart earlier, he's going to have to do a safety car restart once more. While earlier his tires were brand new, right now they're going to be 9 sold at the end of this lap. While Ryan, who's on medium tires, will be on 9-lap-old medium. So maybe, just maybe, Ian could have a chance at it. If Ian's just manages to get an overtake on Ryan here, and that 3-second penalty to Tyrone applies, that could be somewhat of a chance. But I think that's still going to be a big one here, because Tyrone, despite the 3-second penalty, you never know when or how with how quick he's going to move up over 3 seconds. So then out to the cars ahead, to the cars behind. Well, look at this then. It is all to play for right here. While we have the safety car restart. Edward's going to go for it on the inside of Evil. Evil's going to be taking that move back again. Meanwhile, Fino's going to be having the opportunity to get past Edward. And he does get past Edward there, or does he? They're still side by side, heading towards Erouge and Ready On. Who's going to have to back out? It'll have to be Edward there. He will eventually back out right at that moment. Front of the field, Dees is going to try and get past Ian. We were talking about Ian overtaking Ryan, but that's not going to be happening. Well, Dees is going to be overtaking Ryan, Ian. They're all easy though, because they're going to be wheel to wheel. Nobody's going to back out of it. Meanwhile, at the back of the grid, Fino's going to nearly rejoin the track, make contact with others. He's going to come back on. Well, Evil and Fino fighting each other off. They find lost positions, or have they? Right there, because Fino's now in P5 with Dees in P4, and as soon as he's able to jump Ian, he's not managed to jump Ian at all, and Ian's P3 still stays to himself. And it is all happening here on lap 20 out of 22 with 2 safety cars on our hands. It is all that chaos that keeps happening so far. So Tyrone has managed to pull away over 1.2 seconds. I think Ryan needs to be very quick. Otherwise, end up losing to Tyrone, while Fino's going to come side of Dees. But he's going to come back, and eventually Dees is not going to leave him at all. They're going to be side by side once more. Remember, it's a medium tires on Fino's car, 2 laps old only. So he's pitted under this safety car. Still, those 9-lap-old hearts are going to be keeping up against Fino. From Dees is now Evil's going to get past Dees as well. He's going to send it on the inside line, as Evil's going to go for a double overtake there. He gets the job done. And what a move, as he was be flying on those brand new soft medium compound tires right here into the safety car. Ian's going to go for it as well. Ian's not going to leave him. He certainly will leave him enough space, but they're nearly going to pop back out as well. I think Ian's going to go all hands out right here. Surely, yes to do. I think the DRS will not be available behind the safety car, or will it be? We're going to have to watch out for that. It certainly will be available. The rear wing will be opening against others, and the battery is not enough for Ian to defend, I think, unless he's able to just keep it there and keep his car be there. I think he might just be able to defend against Fino at least, and he will be trying to defend against Fino. Fino's not going to back out at all. He's going to go a little bit wide, come back on the circuit, and again have that challenge, while the White Red Bull is now in to challenge against Fino as well. It is all so far, and look at this. What a race, to say the least, as Tyrone's victory could be in trouble because of that 3-second time penalty, but look at that. And remember, 10-second penalty to Fino as well, so Fino's going to have to... He's certainly going to lose a lot of time, to say the least. 7/10 to Evil could be getting closer to Ryan. Does he get closer to Ryan there? While Ian's in P4 still, despite only... Well, Brendo's made a move, but D absolutely wide, and that's going to allow Brendo... Austin Bros into P6 there, while Dees is going to wide. Just 10 laps on these other tires. those hard tires are definitely showing their age, and also missing that rear front wing import on that car could be a problem, while Fino is looking ready, and he's looking more than ready to get past Ian there. But would he be able to get that move done? He moves to the outside line into turn 1, and Ian's already defended that inside line so far, and I think, all right, he's got his battery on none, and I think it's interesting, and now to see lap 22 up of the Grand Prix, and the gap is over 3 seconds. So Ryan has been overtaken by Evil, and looks like Ryan might have made a mistake right there. While Fino gets past Ian as well, and the Tyron thing we were talking about, he could pull away 3 seconds, and he certainly has now, unless Evil could do enough to on those brand new medium tires to not make any mistakes and still keep it within 3 seconds of Tyron. This could be very interesting right here, and I think that's nearly going to drop Fino to P9 because that 13 seconds in penalties. Freddy was over 15 seconds with the next car, so he might not be taking that position, but otherwise Fino's nearly going to drop down to P9, while Deez has now got another 3-second time penalty as well. That's going to be 6 seconds to his. DJ could have the opportunity to try and certainly get past. Meanwhile, Evil is 2.8 seconds to Tyron, but it'll depend whether he's able or not, as Tyron's about to finish off the line, and the gap is more than 3 seconds right there. So this could be interesting, and it indeed will be interesting, as Tyron, despite a 3-second time penalty and no racing in first, and win and takes the victory at Spa, while Evil's going to come in finish in P2, while Ryan gets a P3. Well done to him. Fino track will drop him down to P6 on the track penalties, and his 10-second penalty, which will drop him further down the order, while Ian's got a P4, Brendo's got a P5, with the P6 to DJ and a P7, I'd assume, to D's, with a P8, P9 to Edward, P8 to Edward, and a P9 to Fino, I'd believe so, with that 10-second time penalty, which was eventually awarded to him. That's it then. We've got to the end of this race finally, ladies and gentlemen, after incidents, chaos, and live penalties for the very first time by our Stuart Vicky, who announced all of that. Tyron's still going to be at the top, and he certainly is, as he wins yet another race. Wins 4th race of the season out of the 5 that we've had so far, as that's going to be the end. And now look at this, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be right here where we see the end of this race. It's going to be Tyron who wins here at Spa with the fastest lap to his name as well. Evil's got a P2, P3 for Ryan, and P4 for Ian, P5 for Brando, and with that penalty awarded to 13 seconds of penalties, or rather that's actually going to be 16 seconds of penalties now, so that might just see him. Okay, so that time is to the leader, so that might just see him, Fino, to even be down in P10. Not sure about that. So P6 is going to be for DJ, P8 to D's, so now it could be either P8 or P9 or P10 for Fino, with Edward and Freddy moving a position up, while Raichu, Killa, Special, and Archie, all drivers getting a retirement in this race, while Archie was awarded a black flag. So finally, that's going to be the end of this race, ladies and gentlemen. We finally got to the end of it. That's going to be coming to an end here, as that is it for this race then, round 6 here at Spa. Hope you all watching had fun and enjoyed some great racing. These were the penalties that could be awarded live. If anything changes, we'd certainly update and move everything up with the next round in round 7. But that's pretty much going to be the end of it, ladies and gentlemen, here. And from all of us here at New Age F1, this is going to be the final moments before we go and catch you with next week. So this was me, Zabi, bringing you guys all the action on the track and all the entertainment that was provided by these drivers. And thanks to our steward, Vicky, who was there spectating and working as a steward for the night. And congratulations to our winner for yet another win, to Tyrone. And that's going to be the end, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye. Adios.